Welcome to Gamers Platform.
Oh.
Yeah! Good. Oh, baby! Look at that!
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Adam Wolf from Gamers Platform, and we've got another trailer reaction video for you. This time, we're covering Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Yes, that's what it's called. Even though we already have a Modern Warfare. What is Activision doing with this naming scheme? Like, I guess from a business standpoint, I see sort of the point. But at the same time, it's like, can you think of something else? It's getting ridiculous here. But apparently this is kind of like a soft reboot of what is called the Modern Warfare sub-series. They wanted to do this with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. They wanted to cut out Call of Duty entirely and just call it Modern Warfare 2, because after Call of Duty 4, that was when Frank Zampella had left the company. I believe that's around the time when he left the company. They had their little falling out, and they were like, well, we don't want Call of Duty being associated with this. But then they wised up and they said, well, Call of Duty's a big name, so yeah, so I think they're losing their minds calling it just Modern Warfare, but you know, what are you gonna do? It might sell. I mean, they're going back, they're not doing futuristic at this point, they're doing Modern Warfare, and it's kind of nice to see that, because we've all been saying, it's been what? Advanced Warfare was like the first major futuristic one, I think, and ever since then it's been future, near future, and it's like, stop with the nobody cares about the future. All right, we want modern technology being used. We want to see a modern shooter. It releases on October 25th this year, so again, we got a supercharged end of the year. We've got Ghost Recon on October 4th. We got Call of Duty on October 25th. We've got Death Stranding in November 8th. I'm pretty sure there's a Battlefield there somewhere. We haven't heard anything yet, but E3 is around the corner, and so we'll see what they have in store for us. But let's get to the trailer. Apparently, it's actual in-game footage, not in-engine, in-game. So supposedly this is like maybe cutscenes, or they just got some camera angles from, you know, somebody playing the game or something like that. But we'll see. Let's start it up. Rating pending. Is Captain Price in it?
The rules have changed.
Well, it's a British guy.
There's a fine line between right and wrong. And somewhere in the shadows, they send us in to find it.
It's the new Ghost Recon.
126 actual. Target is in the main house.
Oh my god, I called it. It is Captain Price. Did they reprise the role for the same voice actor? Because that guy was kind of irreplaceable.
Weapons are now in the wild.
We get dirty, and the world stays clean. That's the mission.
Okay. This one was actually quite short compared to the other two trailer reaction videos I put out.
Who's your team?
Some old comrades.
Some old comrades. See, I don't know, from this picture, I didn't know that was Captain Price. That's who they were trying to portray. But, I mean, it's a signature, you know, mustache beard. What the hell is that called? The handlebars or something? I don't know. Okay. Again, really short. Love that little quip at the end. Some old comrades. So we are probably going to be seeing basically a continuation of the Modern Warfare trilogy, which, again, I can't say this enough. It is the best Call of Duty has ever been. That franchise right there, which at this point, I could see why they're reprising it. I wonder if it'll actually take place after the events of Modern Warfare 3. I could see why they're trying to continue it, because it was when Call of Duty was at its best with storytelling, with gameplay. It was the best, and is my favorite part of the Call of Duty series of all time. So I could see why I didn't think that this was the same. I thought this was different. I thought this was going to be something completely different, but they are actually, it looks like they're continuing with the story, which, great. That actually makes me excited. That makes me very happy to see Captain Price back in action, baby. Because he's the man. He's the man. You can't replace Captain Price, but I am wondering if they replace the voice actor, because that doesn't sound like him. It sounds a little bit different. Still Brit, obviously, but it sounds like a different voice actor. So we'll have to see. I'm sure it's listed already. It might not even be. I'll just look that up real quick. But I doubt they list any of the actors now. None of the actors are actually listed. So we don't know who's playing Captain Price. I'm hoping it's the same voice actor. They asked him, hey, you want to reprise your role? And he said yes. And we got the classic Captain Price back. So that makes me excited. Overall, if this is in-game footage, as they say it is, okay, then that is pretty awesome. I mean, just this shot alone, that looks real. I'm not going to lie. That actually looks realistic. I mean, maybe it's just the green tint of the night vision goggles, but that looks really good. And I love the lighting. That helmet shot, that was really well done. I especially like the way that the light is bouncing off. We got some I'm assuming some volumetric fog over here. And they say this is in-game footage, so that doesn't necessarily mean somebody has to be playing it. Sort of. There is a difference between in-game and in-engine. In-engine is basically like they're using the engine to render whatever cutscene or cinematics that they want to render. In-game means the game is running. Either somebody's playing it or they're just showing the cutscenes that you might be seeing in the game, which is mostly what they do. I mean, it's Call of Duty. It's very Hollywood, it gets exciting when they really kind of set up a really good trailer. Call of Duty is the Hollywood of video games. That's basically what it's become. For those of you who are old school Call of Duty players like myself, the very first Call of Duty was nothing like this. Not even close. The first couple of Call of Duties weren't this high tier, but they were pretty close. But the very first one was nowhere near this, and so we've basically got the Hollywood of video games right here, and as usual, it's very impressive. It looks like they may be using a new engine. I'm not sure. People usually say when you see a Call of Duty game, it looks like a Call of Duty game. This doesn't look like a Call of Duty game. I'm not gonna lie. To me, this looks way better. It does look like they've upped the ante and they are actually using a completely different engine now. I could be wrong. They might just be really good at their job, which they should be. But they might be using a different engine here, because none of this looks like Call of Duty. Yeah, it plays like Call of Duty. It looks like it's gonna play, but does that look like Call of Duty to you? I mean, for us, the Call of Duty look means stuff is really shiny. You want to call it that? It's really shiny. It's not as realistic looking, but I mean, this does not look like Call of Duty, and it looks really good. Actually, I'm very impressed. The explosion here was really good, very vibrant. It lights up the area, and then once it dies down, the area becomes dark again. But it got me excited. This was something. Seeing a kid in the middle of a irradiated field with wearing a gas mask. That's interesting. But it just sounds like they are taking where they left off, or they're picking up where they left off with the Modern Warfare trilogy, and it looks like there's something going down somewhere in Europe, I'm guessing. I mean, these are very European looking buildings. I'm guessing based on this, possibly somewhere in France. That is a FAMAS. So maybe they're in France. That would be my guess. You take a look at this, you can probably deduce based on the police, Metropolitan Police, SFD. I don't know, maybe not. That's European right there. That's absolutely European. The fact that he has Metropolitan Police on the side might make you think. I mean, oh, there we go, right there, boom, British flag. So we're not in France, we're in Great Britain. Didn't see that before. There you go. All right, that answers that question. But the FAMAS is being used, so you could probably see where I'm coming from with that. But I'm wondering if this is primarily because a lot of the Call of Duty games, they actually ended up taking place in America and in Europe. I wonder if this is primarily in Europe and the Middle East. If it is, that's great. I mean, we're continuing with Captain Price here, so I imagine we're going to be looking at the SAS. This actually looks like American soldiers, so, and we heard some American voices in there, so they'll definitely be involved. You see, there's some motion blur here. I'm actually kind of liking this motion blur. It doesn't look terrible. It gives that cinematic feel, and it's not terrible. It's not the worst motion blur I've seen. I mean, you see what needs to be blurred out is blurred out, and what doesn't isn't. So there's very minimal blur, if any at all, back here. Where there is motion, there is blur, so I'm liking the way that looks. I actually am a fan of motion blur if it's implemented correctly. I don't know about you guys, but I do like tasteful motion blur. But overall, I mean, if you took a screenshot of that, would you know that was Call of Duty? I mean, I wouldn't. It looks like something that it looks real. It's crazy. It does actually look real. That looks like a real soldier in a real environment. I don't know. It just looks good. And I hope I'm right that they're using a different engine. But this is being developed by Infinity Ward, so this is their next shot at making a Call of Duty that will hopefully bring it back into the spotlight as one of the better Call of Duties. And I don't blame them, honestly, for picking up the Modern Warfare title, because I think business-wise it's a smart thing to do, because that was the best trilogy in the entire series. So I think continuing the story is a smart move. Personally, I think they should continue the Advanced Warfare series, because they left it on a somewhat of a cliffhanger, so they could continue it, but it looks like they may have ditched that and they're going back to Modern Warfare. And it could be a smart move. We'll see how this one pans out. But that's going to do it for me today, guys. This game comes out October 25th. I don't know if I'll be pre-ordering it, but if you are, let me know in the comments below. What did you think of this trailer? Are you excited for Call of Duty? You know, this is a minute-and-a-half trailer, and it was enough to give you a taste of what they might do with the franchise and where they're going. So if it excites you, let me know in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you are so sick of Call of Duty and what they're doing with it, and subscribe if you haven't already. But until next time, I'm Adam Wolf. This is Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and I'll see you guys in the next one.